What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Baddog here with another New York Giants video. As always, appreciate you clicking on the video. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up because it always helps out huge. Hit the like and subscribe. Giants football not too far away. Well, obviously, we got a game this week, a preseason game. They looked great against the Panthers the other night, and first team looked unbelievable. The Giants have had a really good summer so far, and still a long ways to go until September 10th when we play the Dallas Cowboys, which I know a lot of Giants fans are pumped up for. I'm pumped up for it as well. Hope you are too. Again, just want to say thank you to everybody that made that 24-hour stream an unbelievable stream today. Obviously, I took a day off of work because no matter how much sleep I get, Sunday to Monday, I needed a lot of sleep to get through that. Anybody that's done one of these things knows it kind of throws you off for a day or two. So I figured, why not get some rest and be ready to go back at it tomorrow. But I did want to react to the Brandon Brown presser. Easy for me to say. Whenever we talk about the Giants and I talk about the front office and Joe Shane and everybody, I always try to make mention of Brandon Brown because I really do believe he's an integral part of what the Giants have done as far as making their team better. The last 2 years, I felt like our drafts have been on point, especially this year. I was really excited about the first 3 picks, and these rookies have looked amazing. I mean, again, you take it with a grain of salt. It's preseason. I'm not going to get too high or too low about their performances, but seeing guys like Trey Hawkins and Jordan Riley, who were 6th and 7th round picks producing. Yeah, they're going against 2nd and 3rd string guys, but they're going against guys their level and they're dominating, which is a good thing. So maybe we'll see them step up. Hawkins has actually played against, 2nd string guys, I believe, maybe even 1st string guys, because I don't know who's 1st string, 2nd string on these teams. But I think Jordan Riley will get more of a look this week, and we'll see what Daboll does. The starters got one drive, which Chris and I do in the game kind of figured that was going to be it. It was perfection. It really was. Outside of Darren Waller getting popped and losing the ball, Daniel Jones was 8 out of 9, accounted for all 75 yards and a touchdown. So it was an amazing performance by the first string offense, and you probably couldn't ask, and they did that without Saquon Barkley. So you can only imagine what it could look like with Saquon. So anyway, let's get into this and see what Brandon Brown has to say. And this should be good. This should be good, man.
How's the summer going? Good. What do you think when you look at this?
All you got to do is look at this smile on his face, right? Look at this smile on his face. It's pretty obvious they're pretty happy with what's going on. I think that says it all right there.
The team as a whole at this point. Yeah, I just think you look at the team where we are now from where we were, call it, last year ending training camp, just adding more speed, explosiveness on both sides of the ball, and just competition every day.
How does the process change with the one cut day for next week for you? I would imagine you and your team, you guys are spread all over trying to evaluate, not just here, but
that guy sounds like he did a 24-hour stream. I know how the voice gets tired, but to go back, the explosive speed, man. Jalen Hyatt, that was another thing. You love to see him get that deep pass from Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor played a lot better in that second game. Stood in there, took a hit, threw a nice pass to Jalen Hyatt for a touchdown. So I do love the explosiveness, the speed that the Giants are adding, because, again, you're getting into 21st century analytics. So there's a lot of speed in the NFL now. It's about time the Giants jumped on board with that.
Yeah. Yeah, Art, our process doesn't change. The nice part is that we're really meticulous, especially with our pro department, Chris Rossetti leading the pro department on how we go about evaluating it, whether it's the pro scouts being split up with different teams assignments, Tim McDowell and myself overseeing, whether it's NFC, AFC, funneling players of interest up to Joe, having Dennis Hickey, Ryan Cowden all filling in just in terms of canvassing the landscape. If there's guys that are playing well out there, there's nothing that's going to be a surprise to us, whether it's a guy that's at the cut down, whether a guy who's traded in the next 2 weeks. We'll be doing our due diligence throughout the process. So Whether teams decide to cut prematurely to call it like, a benchmark of 80 before they get down to 53, we'll be prepared. There's no curveballs or surprises on our end.
See, this is one thing I love. The difference between this front office and the last front office, and you could see all the channels that they go through to evaluate the talent, the way they prepare. And as he said, the word meticulous is one of my favorite words. They don't leave any stone unturned when it comes to process, looking at these players and seeing what what they like and what they don't like. So I feel like these guys always have a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, plan F, plan L, whatever it is. They don't leave any stone unturned in the way they process these players.
You have a philosophy like, we're going to do it all at once on the last day, or like as it comes along, or
In terms of evaluating the league,
no, in terms of making it.
yeah, that's going to be really wholeheartedly up to Joe and Dave. But I just think it's where we are from a health standpoint, and obviously getting through the Jets game. What we need from offense, defense, special teams, and then going that way.
Yeah,
It is weird that they just do one cut now, though. I don't really know what the difference is. To me, it's just you're evaluating more players at one time.
with 5 planes between cut day and week 1 last year. Do you expect to be as active,
Obviously we've elevated the talent overall in the team, but we're going to canvas everything. We're, at the end of the day, when you look at it, then it's going to be acquire, develop, retain. That's what we want to do. It's acquiring the best talent, developing the best talent, retaining the best talent. So we're always going to look for upgrades, and sometimes where we are in the claim order is different than last year, right? So that preference in the claim order where we land up, it's going to be something that we monitor it, but we're going to do our due diligence. There's going to be guys that are claimed that we'll have maybe 4, 5, 6 reports in on, but it may not get to us in the claim order. So we're going to look at, what the sweet spots are, where there's surplus on in the market, and see if there's opportunity to help us.
I really like Brandon Brown, man. He's just well spoken. He's very educated. I mean, like I said, every time I mention the front office or Joe Shane, I always try to make sure I give Brandon Brown credit, because I think sometimes the assistant GM can be overlooked in their role and what's going on. But I feel like he is every bit of as important. Obviously, Shane makes the final decisions, but I just feel like Brandon Brown's really, like I said, he's just a really intelligent guy. And you can listen to him talk and you can hear all the things that they do. And this is why, I'm excited as a Giants fan, and you should be too, because like I said, for once, or for the first time in a long time, we have guys in the front office that have a plan, that understand what they're doing, and they know what they want to do, and they're going to do whatever it takes. And they have many avenues to get to where they want to get. So they look at everything and they figure out what's best for the team. And he made a great point. The waiver wire this year, we're going to be much farther down it because they had a much better record than they did in 2021.
What's your take on this rookie class now that we're pretty deep into training camp? It looks like there's a lot of guys who are going to play pretty significant roles in this.
Yeah, and you go back to June when we talked last, adding more guys that are smart, tough, dependable. And like I said, in June, it doesn't guarantee them success, but it gives them an opportunity and a platform for success. So I think when you look at the draft class, we added explosiveness. We talked about making a conscious effort of adding generators on the offensive side, getting more explosive on the defensive side, guys that fit our brand. And I think when you look from the top down, from Joe and Dave's preaching collaboration, when there's synergy between the scouting department and the coaching staff, it allows us, like I kind of label it, finding players within the margin, right? They're guys that may be imperfect later on as you go in terms of on day 3, but we're asking them to do things that fit the system, and that accentuates their positive traits. So I'm excited. Obviously there's been early success, but the book isn't written yet, but it's a good start right now.
Yeah, no question. It's definitely been a good start. And again, you see that again, that goes back to these guys having a vision and executing that vision, getting players that they want that will fit within their system. So, everything that Brandon Brown and Brian Daboll and of course Joe Shane, everything these guys say, if you're a Giants fan, should get you pumped up, because they really do seem like they understand what they're doing. And taking such a big jump forward probably accelerated the process of us as fans, thinking this team could be really good. These guys are still kind of in the process of a rebuild, as it were. It's only their second season with the Giants, and really their their first full off season, because again they got their, well, I shouldn't say first full off season, but they got there at the end of last year, and they've had a full year to decide what they wanted to do and where they wanted to go.
Is anybody surprise you from that group that you're saying, hey, they're farther than?
I wouldn't label anybody as a surprise. I think we all knew that we're excited from whether you're going from Tay in the first round to Trey in the sixth round. We're all been excited for all these guys when we acquired them, even Jordan in the seventh round.
Again, Jordan Riley and Trey Hawkins have been awesome. 6th and 7th round talents, man. Again, you don't know what that's gonna be when they start playing, the more expansive offenses, the first string guys. But it's much better to hear positive aspects, and these guys are dominating or playing well against their competition, as opposed to they're not playing well against the competition.
Gio, like these guys all have traits to play on Sunday. It was just a matter of marrying the development from the coaching staff to having game day traits. And that's where the synergy comes from. Dave preaches to the coaching staff, develop these guys. Our rookies, our year two guys, there's been a high emphasis on developing the skill set. And for us on the scouting side is making sure that they have the skill set that fits our scheme. So it's been a good marriage so far. Kim?
You look at Jalen Hyatt. It strikes me that if the rest of the league could redo it, he may not be there for you in the third round right now, given what we've seen in training camp. And I know it's just training.
I was very surprised Jalen Hyatt was there that late. I would have been happy if they took him in the second round. I mean, the reason I was so excited about the draft was because they nailed 3 positions that they needed, and they got 3 of the best players at those positions coming out of college. I mean, you get, Deontay Banks, who's one of the higher end corners in the league. You get JMS in that second round at the end of it. That was amazing. And then Jalen Hyatt still sitting there, and Joe Shane, Brandon Brown being aggressive and going up and getting him and not having to give up too much for him. So you get him 71st overall. And then you think back, the trade with Kadarius Toney. In essence, your compensatory pick in the third round ends up being Darren Waller. So your first 4 picks this year, in essence, are Banks, JMS, Hyatt, and Darren Waller. So they knocked it out of the park.
But what did you see that is now manifesting itself on the practice field that led you guys to say, I'm guessing he could be a difference maker?
Yeah, so I think with Jalen, it's doing your due diligence. It's one, knowing what he was asked to do at Tennessee. It's us having those extra conversations with his position coach at Tennessee, talking to the coaching staff at Tennessee, knowing what their system called for, because what he's doing for us, he has more talent in his body than the role he was asked to play at Tennessee. So you look at the skill set, did he have bend, balance, and burst? Can he get out of breaks? Was he asked to run a limited route tree at Tennessee versus what he can do for us? I think us going that full, call it, full circle of doing all our due diligence and finding the evidence. And it was a great process. And I said again, the synergy. You talk about the full process with Jalen. Hats off to our college department. They identified Jalen early. That allowed Joe, Tim, Dennis to go see him against Alabama. Allowed me to go see him later against Missouri. Then Mike Grohl spends time with him. Dave spends time with him. We have him in the facility for a 30 visit. We get him on the board. All those things add to who he is and the upside. You see him making extra effort in terms of blocking down the field in practice. That adds to who he is. He's a great young man, and we're excited for him.
That was an amazing answer. Just hearing all the steps that they went through to evaluate him, and hearing him say, talking to the coaches at Tennessee, and what his route tree was and what he was asked to do at Tennessee, because that was a big knock on him coming out of college. Was he was asked he only ran a limited route tree at Tennessee. They had like 11 plays. That was Tennessee's offense. Quarterback would look at like 11 or 12 plays in the wrist, and pretty much Jalen do this, Jalen do that. And obviously, so they decided, what can he do? They want to look at everything that he can do, but he was not asked to do a lot at Tennessee. So obviously they're trying to develop all those other skills. And when you hear about him blocking downfield, that is a big thing that is overlooked from a wide receiver standpoint. A lot of long, running back runs or quarterback runs come because, wide receivers are blocking down the field. So you like to hear that he's going the extra mile and not just looking, to score touchdowns or run by everybody, just get receptions. He's doing extra things to help the team, which is blocking downfield. Sterling Shepard is great at blocking downfield.
Probably a similar answer, but how about the scouting process with Hawkins, a guy who comes out of a smaller school? Any stories stick out about when you saw him against two? Like, how did he get on your board when maybe he wasn't on every team's board?
Well, you look at Trey, look no further than the physical traits. I kind of laugh and tell him, he's Temple, Texas tough. And he's a guy that's gone the JUCO route, and he's got length that fits our system. It's getting the description from Wink. Wink is very particular of what plays in the system and what's at a premium. And we know, hey, you got to be able to run, got to be strong, got to, guys that have length, and you got to be willing to be physical in the run game, also in press coverage. So when you look at Trey, he's the guy that stood out at the All-Star game. It's not a surprise to us. We had him in the building on a 30 visit. Jerome, Mike Trier, they spend time with him on the board. And then we look at where he is in training camp. Nothing has been too big for him. Every time there's been a platform, he's answered the bell. So I think more guys, like him that fit our profile, and then they have the mental toughness, play with short-term memory. They're getting coached the same way. It doesn't matter how we acquire them. Once they're here, it's an even playing field. So Dave says again, you earn your playing time based on merit, and Trey's nothing more of an example of that.
Yeah, and that was one thing I loved from Coach Dable right from last year was the players that earned the playing time were going to get it. It didn't matter that they were paying Kenny Galladay over $70 million. It didn't matter that Kadarius Toney was a first-round pick. I mean, we all know that they were looking at guys like David Sills and Colin Johnson were going to be the starters because they were out working, Kadarius Toney and Kenny Galladay in practice. And obviously Colin Johnson got hurt. And it ended up being guys like Richie James and Marcus Johnson or whatever. I mean, we had a carousel of wide receivers last year. But I love the fact that, like Brandon Brown just said, it doesn't matter how they acquired them or when they acquired them. They get to the Giants. They're all on an even playing field. There are no favorites. The guys that perform are the guys that are going to play. You love to hear that. I just love to hear the way the communication between this group, the front office guys, the scouting department, and the coaching staff. It seems like it's in sync, which is certainly going to help the Giants. You want to all be on the same page. I never did these with Dave Gettleman, so I really don't know what Dave Gettleman said, but it never seemed like they would have all been on the same page. Of course, Gettleman had two totally different coaching staffs in his 4 years here, and it is what it is. 3 years here, I guess.
Your involvement in that?
4 years. I'm sorry, 2018, 2021.
Like, when did you get a first look at him? Like, and when did you, sort of
see
him? Yeah, him, or
So
you got
so you go back to their games. You look at him against top competition or FBS competition. You see him against Virginia, and then you watch him against the App States, the Coastal Carolinas, and he's a guy who's physical. Whether it was a run play, pass play, wedging guys to the sideline, finishing late on the ball, being able to dislodge the ball, separate the receiver from the ball. Those are traits where you saw really good tape and flashes. And that's part of the synergy where can we make those flashes consistent? And once we get him on campus, we have a 30 visit with him, spending time with him, knowing the adversity he's overcome, going the JUCO route, knowing that he, doesn't just like ball, he loves ball. And that he's going to be, a student of the game for us. And those smart, tough, dependable mantras that we give, like he's another guy that embodies it. And he's been taken to the coaching, and we're going to keep putting more on his plate and let him handle what he can handle.
I mean, again, if you hit on 6th and 7th round picks, these guys become average. If they became average starters when you draft them that late, you've heard me talk about this for years. The GM, their money's made in the 3rd through 6th round. You really should be hitting on your 1st round picks. I don't care where you're picking in the 1st round. Those guys are obviously at the top of the talent pool. You should hit on those guys. You should be hitting on 2nd round picks. But the guys in the 3rd or the 6th round, a lot of them are hit or miss. You hit on a couple of those, it's great. They don't cost a lot of money. That is how you build the core of your team, and then you can go out in free agency and get superstars and plug them into places you need. Dave Gettleman was trying to, cover a gushing wound with a Band-Aid when the team needed surgery. these guys have surgical precision in the way they're approaching this team, and you love to see it. You love to see it. Like every player that they drafted last year, I know they all dealt with injuries, but almost every one of them produced at some point during the year. So you love to see it.
Andre Patterson last week about Jordan Riley said that along the lines of what you said about the margin, he said that you guys, the way you have the alignment set up is that the coaches and the scouts look beyond the on-field production. And obviously the on-field production stands out, but what his tape not showing that we see him individually on all the players? How big of a part of the evaluation process is that for you guys? Some people take a chance or won't take a chance, but you guys are taking that chance based on knowledge and really input.
Right. And I can't mention Jordan Riley without mentioning Dennis Hickey and Tim McDonald. They were driving forces in terms of the process of Jordan. I remember going back to my notes. Jordan's not on anybody's radar. It's October. Dennis Hickey goes out to uh, Oregon, sees him. Is like, "B, listen, I'm just telling you, this guy has traits that we want to play with knockback. We want to be big up front. Want to control the line of scrimmage. Like he fits our brand of ball." And Tim tells me, "B, we need to go see him play." So Tim and I went and saw him play against Cal, and Tim's been the ultimate checks and balances for me. Someone that I have blind trust in, where he says, like, we need to go watch this guy, and we come apart from it. You can walk out to warmups, and he sticks out like a sore thumb. And there's some inconsistencies in this game, and you got to do the full, call it the full evidence and due diligence and the fact finding process on Jordan. Him being a three-school transfer, us going the extra mile in terms of having uh, Andre Patterson and Brian Cox work him out privately. In the personnel department, we refer to Dre Patterson as Dr. Dre, right? So he's a guy that puts his fingerprints on guys and tweaks up their techniques, and we see flashes, but you can't replicate Jordan's size. There's not just that many men.
Yeah, Jordan Riley is a big guy, and obviously there's going to be some holes in his game. He wouldn't have went that late in the draft otherwise. But again, this just shows you. This is why you should have so much confidence. Again, we don't know what Jordan Riley is going to be. Nobody knows what he's going to be. He's looked great so far in training camp, especially for a 7th-round pick. And nobody knows what he's going to be. But again, you have to be encouraged at the way these guys communicate with one another, the way they process everything, all the processes that they go through to decide which players are going to be right for the Giants. Jordan Riley is a big dude. And again, go back to last year, we saw as good as Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams were, we got dominated at the line of scrimmage. We were one of the worst run defenses in the league, and need look no further than what both the Cowboys and the Eagles were able to do to us last year, which was dominate the line of scrimmage. It's something we got to get better at, especially if the Giants are going to be able to beat Dallas and Philadelphia. They have to get stronger up front. And Jordan Riley obviously is a big man. Like he just said, you can't replicate size. It's something you can't do at speed either. It's not taught. Jalen Hyatt has explosive speed. Jordan Riley has massive size. You can't replicate that. You can't coach that. You're either a really big guy or you're not. Riley is a man amongst men.
Walking on on the world that have his size. So it's on us to kind of bridge that gap with, can he take to the coaching, the development, getting his weight right, all those things that every time we put a benchmark in front of him, he's met it. So, and the nice part is the teammates root for him. Leo and Dex, they've taken him under their wings like a little brother. And I think, the production that you're seeing in the preseason, we're hoping that, that can be a catalyst for things to come in the future. But it's been really cool to see.
Brandon, do you see the cut down day as somewhat of a mini draft in the sense that you have an evaluation board on everybody who's playing for everybody?
Yeah, it's a point where you look at times of where can you acquire players. It's whether it's the draft, whether it's the trade deadline, whether it's the cut down period. I kind of say for the pro guys, it's their Super Bowl. Besides free agency, it is a acquisition point where we have the ability to improve the roster, and we do our due diligence on everyone. I know you guys may see um, stories on guys that we don't entertain, guys that we do entertain. Just know we're doing our due diligence on everyone, and that's the unseen work from the pro department. We set up our free agency board, our draft boards is no different than the preseason board. There's a board that's goes across by priority and positions, and we look at, hey, what would be an upgrade from what we currently have, and what wouldn't, and why, and then find out, especially, you look at what positions over historical data has been claimed the most. You look at defensive guys having a higher hit rate of being claimed and playing on a 53 after the cut down than maybe some offensive guys. So we take all that into account and try to make the most sound and informed decisions.
I mean, just listening to him talk again, I mean, I can even speak for myself, and I'm sure a lot of other people. You don't understand all the steps, the amount of work, the amount of time that these guys are putting in to put the best team possible on the field. To get the best players for their system. It's just listening to him talk. It is amazing to me the amount of work that these guys are putting in. And you hear me speak about this all the time. I don't care what line of work you're in or what you're doing. Hard work's always going to pay off. If you work hard and you're consistent, you're going to see results. I just love, again, I love our front office. It is the biggest reason why I'm so confident that the Giants are going to do nothing but continue to get better, because finally the brain trust of this organization seems to have a clear, concise path of what they want to do. And they do a lot of work to make sure that they're getting the exact guys that they want. So, again, man, I just listening to them talk really, again, I was already excited about the Giants, but you listen to Shane, you listen to Brandon Brown, you listen to the way they go through the processes to get to where they are. And then, of course, whenever you listen to Coach Dable answer the questions, he's never too high or too low. He treats everybody the same, like Brandon Brown said earlier in this presser. It doesn't matter where they came from or how they acquired them, what they got. It's all an even playing field. Everybody has a chance, to make the roster or to be a starter. They go in blind. It's a clean slate, and the best players are going to play. And I love that. I love that approach.
So
What are you seeing in Daniel this year? That maybe is a little bit different, or with another year under his belt?
I was just confidence.
That's a word that is a word that I used to describe Daniel Jones for years. When I was harsh on Daniel Jones, it wasn't because of the physical tool. You'll never ever find a video. There's a lot of videos of me bashing Daniel Jones. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted, right? But you'll never hear me say Daniel Jones could not do this physically. I always thought his physical traits were very good. I was more worried about, can he feel the pocket? Can he slide around in the pocket? Can he, read the defenses at the line of scrimmage? And the biggest thing was, I don't feel like he's a confident quarterback. I didn't feel like he was confident in his throws. I didn't feel like he was confident in his decisions, and I feel like it hurt him. And again, that was me missing the mark on the coaching staff. The coaching staff held him back. Something that I totally forgot about when I said in 2019, if they could ever get the guy a real coach and a real line, he'd be dangerous in the NFL. And now he has the coach. They're working on the line. But Daniel Jones has a confidence that we did not see going into last year. He developed that, in my opinion, last year when they had all those game-winning touchdown drives. They had that early success and started off 6-1. Now he got the contract. He knows that they believe in him. He believes in them. And that's why I think Daniel Jones is just going to continue to grow, especially as they put more and more talent around him.
I think with Daniel, that he knows that we have his back, and then that we believe in him. And it was our job to get him generators. Dave speaks about generators, and not just guys that are run after catch, but guys that can be quick strike players. Guys that can create open windows for him. So I think our job is to make him the best version of himself, and him coming back and doing the work with the skill guys over the summer. It all just lends itself to him being more confident and us gelling and finding our groove earlier.
I have kind of a third question. How do you think the super conferences that are forming in college football affects NFL scouting?
For us, it doesn't. We still have to go see the games. Now, what it will help is seeing their best versus another team's best, right? So you don't have to worry about maybe a watered down game. Now, as we're putting together our travel schedule, if we know that we can go see two premier teams playing every single week, or we can have multiple looks at, iron sharpens irons, best versus best.
They're going to be going. They're going to be going to the SEC, because with Oklahoma and Texas going to the SEC, I believe that's next year. It's the SEC and the Big Ten, in my opinion, are two. It's not close. Those are the two best conferences in football. I don't think it's close. But the SEC, again, I'm a big college football fan, so I always look forward to the college football season as well.
It allows us to easier see, okay, what's playing at a high level on the big stage. But that would probably be the biggest thing. But it won't change our scouting processes at all.
So that was Brandon Brown. Again, I love the presser. I just love their approach to this. I love hearing these answers. A very intelligent guy, really has a grasp on what they want to do. And I'm excited for New York Giants football, man. I really am. So this is 30 minutes long. If you made it this far, I don't know what you were listening to me for that long for, but I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your Monday. And I will see you next time. It is the Bad Diggity Dizzle, and I'm out. Peace.